everyone.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Avery Saltzman,
And I'm David Eisner.
and we're the co-artistic directors of the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company. Welcome to our third episode of our live talk show called Conversations on the Green. It is Wednesday. It is July 8th, and we are
Live. There you go.
Yeah, we're live. We have an amazing guest that David will talk about real soon. But during this hour interview, at the bottom of the screen will be information on how you can donate if you care to during this conversation. It's a tough time for all theater companies these days, and any donation, would just help and support us and let us do wonderful programming virtually for you in the hopefully weeks to come, months to come, whatever. But if you have a chance to donate during this hour, we'd be really appreciated. Dave?
Absolutely. Thank you. And also, you can participate. All you have to do, by the way, if you don't see a place to write a private chat or I should say private chat, a chat of any kind, and make your comments or questions, which we will take at the end of the program, you'll see some writing where it says, should this chat window not activate? If you click here, you'll be able to then write a comment, ask a question, and we'll come back to you at the end. But we're so thrilled, Dave, to have, I know a close friend of yours from way back.
Yes.
Sheila Mccarthy has won 2 awards, not one, for film, 2 awards for television, 2 awards for theater. She does everything. She's a dancer. She is a great voice artist, an actor, director.
Teacher, mentor, everything.
She's a mentor. She was with us for Lost in Yonkers in 2012. She performed for you and with you, and therefore Choose Life. Yes, wasn't that? Did you enjoy that?
Well, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about that. And then she directed me in a wonderful cast in Brighton Beach Memoirs, and we're thrilled to have her. Sheila McCarthy.
Sheila McCarthy.
Here you are.
Hi, everybody. Hi, you guys.
Thanks so much.
You're right. The lighting's good. Okay, good.
Hey, listen. These are interesting times we're living in.
Yep.
What's been good during COVID that you've sort of been able to take advantage of, and what are you dying to do when things get back to normal?
The really good, I would say that the plus side is when it first started, my little pod included my daughters, and they were both living in Toronto. So my youngest one, Drew, and I discovered walking together, and we still do it. We started walking a couple days a week and discovered neighborhoods in Toronto that, I've been driving by my entire life, but we started walking through them. And just walking and talking, or just walking and looking at the pretty houses. And that's been something that would never have happened if it wasn't for COVID. You know what I mean? And I also think people are talking more because we have to talk, the Zoom thing, and then you have to connect and you have to talk and express opinions. I think we're all slightly more politically polarized now. And I think my beliefs about what I believe in have grown stronger because of sort of certain political situations, but also because of COVID. More time to think about all that stuff and maybe jump on board with what matters.
Well, do you think the self-reflection will be our new normal, or do you think people will
that's sort of like saying the highways are quieter, but they'll get busier.
Yeah.
I think, or the air is cleaner. I think we have short memories. I think the takeaway is probably not when we get busy again and frantic again, but the self-reflection right now has been good, and so. It's always to remind ourselves that is important. I think the one thing I am dying to go to a restaurant, and break bread with close friends.
When do you think the industry will come back? Film, theater?
Oh boy! Well, my daughter-in-law right now is shooting a commercial in Montreal, but there's only one person in the commercial, and it's pretty. It's been difficult, but I think commercials are probably the first thing in film and TV that can come back. Of course, animated stuff has never stopped. I think theater was the first thing to close and will be the last thing to come back. Sadly. I think that the collective, as you guys know, of being in a space together, which is what makes theater, makes the world go round, is a difficult concept right now. With, they just shut down Australia. I would say when Broadway comes back, we'll come back.
Yeah. And it was funny because you and I were supposed to do that concert together in October, and then when they came and said that they wanted to do it over 3 nights, like 400 people a night, I go, what were they thinking?
I know. And the big gala dinner sent to people's house. I mean, it was a really wonderfully ambitious idea, but I guess the reality was, and then where does the orchestra go? They can't be together. Like, it's just, there's so many things that are tricky, but we will get through it. It will come back.
You've always been one to make your own work half the time too, with your writing and stuff like this. So has it made you write more?
It's funny. I think writer, like I love writing, and I've always, when I'm not acting or doing whatever I do, I love working on projects. I've got gazillions of them that may never get produced, mostly film and TV. I've been working on a little web series for most of COVID, and it's with a co-writer, Carol McPhee, and we've been talking about writing this thing, and of course we never got around to it. So this has forced us to do it. So we write every single day. We write every day from about this time till cocktail hour.
Wow.
Well, these are the hours I find tricky. I can screw around in the morning and I have a gym in the building that I can still use, and so I can work out and get caught up and then write till wine time. How about that?
That's good. I try not to turn on the TV during the day except to watch my reruns of I Love Lucy, which I've only seen every episode 100 times, and then I turn it off, and then also come 4 is cocktail time, wine time.
I know.
But it's been getting back like to 3, 2:30. 2 o'clock.
Yeah. No, it's really something. But I'm very excited about this little web series, and we've been writing so much. We're in season 4.
Oh my God.
Of this, but I sent it to Helen Shaver, who I worked with a year ago on film, and she actually really likes it. So I'm going, wow, okay. So when the business comes back, let's do it.
Sure.
Well, this is a great segue, honey, to your career, if we can talk about that, because it's been long, but full. I mean,
wow.
You started at 6 in doing Peter Pan.
How did that come about?
With Alan and Blanche Lund at their dance studio. I was doing shows right away, and my parents almost sent me to the National Ballet, but I would never have lasted. So thank God they sent me to Musical Theatre Land of Alan and Blanche Lund. Alan Lund, of course, who started the Charlottetown Festival and Anne of Green Gables, and when I was 16, I moved into that world of doing Anne of Green Gables and the rock opera of Hamlet with Brent Carver and Beverly D'Angelo. But I mean, I never really could figure out anything else to do. And I mean, here's the deal. I could clean houses. Like I thought, well, I could become a cleaner, and that's really I love to clean. Nobody has seen this condo for 4 months, and it's so friggin' clean. Like, oh my God, the only thing I can control. But I just thought it would be so nice to go into people's houses and eat their egg salad sandwiches with a little pickle and surround. Like, I just thought that would be great, and go through their stuff. Anyway,
great talk. That's a great idea.
It is a great idea. It's never too late. You never know. People will.
I'm going to call you right after this interview and say, "Come on, let's get
talking." Right. Take advantage of your many gifts.
It's getting so bad that when my daughter's over, if she goes to go to the washroom, she comes back, she'll say to me, "Mom, did you just plump the pillow? Did you just tuck?" I go, yeah, I did. But it's all I can control in the COVID era.
I love you.
Anyway,
to start at 6, what were some of your inspirations growing up so far as performers that you wanted to emulate?
Well, I also grew up on all the old musicals and I Love Lucy and all hugely influenced. Mary Martin's Peter Pan. That when you think about it, we probably watched it once a year for maybe 3 years. But every second of that musical is indelibly, in my brain. So really all I ever wanted to do was play Peter Pan. And then when I got to do it with Ross Petty at the Panto, I just hung up my tap shoes in. Basically, I did. But,
Did you go to school?
I had to Alan and Blanche who inspired me the most. Like, they plucked me out of the ballet class, and I wasn't particularly pretty or any of those things, but I think I had maybe some comedy chops. And the first part I ever played was The Wicked Witch of the West, and I got huge amounts of laughter when I was melting down between two boxes, and that was it. Ham, but I was quite shy, but a ham on stage, really.
It could have been they were applauding for your exit.
Well, that's true. Hey, she's gone. The Wicked Witch is dead.
That's so great.
I was never that kind of so I was a dancer first, but I never cared enough about the triple pirouette. Like I remember my years becoming a professional dancer. I just thought, well, if I can do it, I can do it. But once I started into the musicals of Anne of Green Gables and all that, and started singing loud, not well, but loud. I got kind of bored being a dancer, and then I went to university for a year to study theater, to study acting, to really satisfy my dad. And that didn't work out. So.
He was a doctor, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And he was, my dad was great, but my dad was an incredible, forward-thinking man, was jogging miles before anybody else was. He was, never read a novel, never watched TV. He was an erudite, real Renaissance man. But he was always slightly negative about us, which was in fact a good thing, because we nicknamed him Sharp Intake of Breath. So when I would say, well, Dad, I'm going to go to Hollywood, he'd go, well, there goes your Canadian career. And I'd say, well, you know what, Dad, I'm going to take a season at the Stratford Festival this year and stay home. And, well, there goes Hollywood. So that
is it interesting?
All over the map here. But you know what, that was a motivator for me and my brother, who's a composer. Like, we've talked about this. Because we just thought, you know what? We're doing it. Like, okay, I'm going to prove to you that we can do it. And he was so proud, but he was also, I think he was scared. I think he was scared that it wouldn't work out,
But your other sisters, I know you have two other sisters.
Well, Peg's a photographer, and beautiful photographer. And my dad used to say, Peg's the photographer, Sheila's the actress, Johnny's a composer, and Molly had twins. Poor Molly. She's I had twins. Big whoop.
And where do you sit in there so far as
I'm number two. Yeah, number two. So, but Molly had a great career, actually doing far more important work than any of us, running camps for underprivileged kids. And,
wonderful.
I mean, like, seriously, she is star.
My professional job when I was 22 was at Shaw, and you choreographed that show. You were 22 and choreographing a show at Shaw.
How old were you?
It was the first musical at Shaw, which was really bizarre anyways, but do you remember that, how that came to be, or did that?
I interviewed, who was the artistic director then, Abe?
His name was Richard Kirshner.
So I interviewed him, and I think what was I doing at 20? So I had just finished at Charlottetown Festival 4 years, and I'd done a couple of, I had choreographed a couple of shows at the Belfry Theatre. I choreographed Dames at Sea and a couple of variety shows in Victoria, and I think I probably waltzed in and was far braver than I'd be now, what was that show called, Avery?
Lady Audley Secret.
Lady Audley Secret with Marie Barron, who was so great.
Yeah.
And he gave me the gig. It was crazy, really. And that was I thought that would be a good career, being a choreographer.
You're always a brilliant dancer. So
it was, again, I just go back to, I just would channel Alan Lund. And I remember really beating you up, though, Avery. Oh my goodness, you were.
Really?
Well, I was pretty hard on you guys, I think.
Well, we were so green, all of us. And I remember doing trenches, and I was so happy to be in the business, but
You were just in a floppy sweat the whole time, I think.
pretty much.
Oh my God.
And then I got to pull up this picture. Matt, can you pull up the boyfriend picture? Sheila Mccarthy's show a couple years later at Talk in Toronto Dinner Theater.
That was after that, right?
Yeah, a couple of years after. There.
Oh my God.
Avery with hair.
Avery, look at you.
Look at you. And
oh my goodness.
I know. And that you were, won't you, Charleston, with me?
Amazing. Oh, we had so much fun doing that show.
Look at the hair I had.
Yeah. Although I got terrible reviews. I was so over the top on opening night. I remember Don Shipley, the artistic director of the Belfry Theatre, came up to me on opening night. He went, "You had fun tonight." I went, "No, did I ever?" And he went, "You had too much fun tonight." Oh, God.
The only reason I mentioned that is because I was so green still. This was only a year or two after, but knowing you were my choreographer and getting to work with you again, I thought, and Brian Mackay and
Wanda Cannon and
I thought this was it. This was a big thing. This was a huge thing for me. So I remember you with awe. And
oh my goodness!
I was so in awe of you, and even though you beat me up now, I think I was totally so sorry.
Oh no, the Boyfriend was a big moment in Toronto musical theatre because there'd been all the sort of Theatre in the Dell and Old Angelo's and Stage West, all those places. But the Talk of Toronto, which was Heiner Piller,
right?
It ran for a long time, and it was they packed them in with that airplane food, and I think my parents saw it about 25 times, that show.
Yeah. Bus loads.
Oh yeah.
Came through.
So,
sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, talking about festivals, you had a wonderful career at Stratford as well.
Well, yeah, you know what? I was married to the late great Peter Donaldson at the time, and we lived in Stratford, and I did 4 seasons at Stratford over about 28 years, and I look back on those years, I was thrust into great big leading lady parts that I probably wasn't quite right for. Opposite Bill Hutt doing School for Scandal, restoration comedy, coming from a musical theater background, and I had very little training in Shakespeare or restoration. And those were hard seasons doing that stuff. Doing the rep. I loved playing Sally Bowles in Cabaret. That was
what a role.
Really
with Brent Carver.
With Brent, played the MC. Right. And Brent was, oh my goodness, he was so incredible in that part. But those were early days in Stratford for doing musicals on the big stage. And I remember having my wardrobe fitting and the designers, just very tight-fitting little Sally Bowles outfits. And I said, "Where does the mic pack go?" And she went, "What mic pack?" And I went, "Yeah, right. We've got 35 pieces of orchestra above us. We've got the Kit Kat Orchestra on stage. Where does the mic pack go?" And she said, "Well, Bill Hutt doesn't wear a mic pack." And I went, "Yeah, wait a minute. Bill Hutt doesn't do King Lear with a Kit Kat band blaring on stage." So, they were getting the kinks out of the big musicals on that stage at that time. But, I got the mic pack that were, those big clunky things.
Wow. And you did Adelaide, you did there? I remember seeing that. Yeah.
I was just going to say, when I did Cabaret there, I got pregnant. And by the end of the Cabaret season, I was 6 months pregnant, and just, that little red corset was just, June was busting out all over, let me tell you. And Eric McCormick from Will and Grace was in the show.
Wow.
And someone said to him, "What do you like about doing Cabaret?" This was before Will and Grace. He was a waiter in the show. And then he said, he was asked, he said, what did you like about doing Cabaret? And he said, "Watching her chest grow."
Oh my God. What year would that be? 1980?
1987.
1987. That's a special year because you were involved with a remarkable, iconic movie, for The Mermaid Singing.
Yeah.
That's not your first film role, or was that?
Well, no. Well, it was my first big feature film role. I auditioned for it right after losing. The Americans were just coming to Canada with stuff, and I had just auditioned for VH Adderley. Do you remember that TV show?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
was an American sort of co-pro thing. And I lost the part to Dixie Seedle, and I was heartbroken.
Mm.
And because I just thought at that point auditioning for film and TV was it, and that I should get everything I ever auditioned for. And I couldn't believe didn't get the part. Couldn't believe it. And then my agent called and said, well, there's this little independent film called I've Heard the Mermaids Singing. They want to see you on Saturday morning. And I'm like, great. I have to drive into Toronto on Saturday morning. Oh my God. All right. I don't want it. It's like a little Canadian movie. I was being a complete and utter snob about it. Went to the audition and auditioned, and then I got a call back and they wanted to see me again. And in those days, you know, I was commuting from Stratford.
Oh,
She just froze for a
I
second.
think she froze for a sec.
She'll come back.
Ellie Daniels just quoted, I did the publicity for I Heard the Mermaids
that's so
Singing
cool.
when it debuted at TIFF. Incredible film.
That's
amazing.
Wow.
You know, so anyway, I auditioned for it a couple of times, and by the fourth audition, the part was so great, and I thought it was almost like it was Patricia Rozema, who wrote and directed it, had written it for me, although she hadn't. And at the end of the fourth audition, I said to Patricia, you just have to give me this part. Please give me this part. And she did. And, you know, it changed my life. You know, it really, it was an amazing experience. So that was quite a year in 1987, because that movie opened. I got pregnant. I was doing 3 huge shows at the Stratford Festival, traveling on weekends really around the world to promote Mermaids. Because honestly, we didn't know what we had. And when it was chosen for, it was chosen at the Cannes Film Festival, the Director's Fortnight, and Stratford let me go to the Cannes Film Festival for 36 hours. And you know, and that was just an incredible experience. We didn't, you know, I really, it was a small little movie made for $200,000. You know, I think I got paid about $800. I did the craft service. It was really, nobody was going to see this movie. And it was a real watershed moment in Canadian film. Un Jour la Nuit came out of Quebec. Mermaids. The Americans hadn't landed too much here yet. So there was some beautiful Canadian films being made.
What was it about that film? What was it? The fantastical elements of it? I mean, what was the simplicity of it?
Well, you know, it was the story of the quintessential underdog, you know, the sort of Walter Mitty character of the sort of, you know, little firecracker who doesn't take no for an answer. And I think Canadians identified with Polly as being the kind of little train that could. And it just touched a nerve with, universally, with people feeling like losers and then winning in the end. And, you know, that was really the theme of it. And Patricia Rozema wrote this little script with some incredible, very much undertones of a kind of lesbian thing that people hadn't seen in film either. But what was beautiful about the film was it was not about that. She was ahead of her time with that. It was really inadvertent that there was even that element in the movie, and people applauded that. And it was just really about, you know, the little girl that could. And, and that movie resonated around the world, and film festivals around the world picked up on it. And it was, even now, you know, I met this woman in Guelph at a benefit a little while ago, and she said, I have to tell you, I saw that movie and I moved to Canada.
Wow.
I can't not think of that classical British music without thinking of that movie and you flying. It was remarkable.
The opera, Lakme, the opera,
Yes.
which is two Japanese women in a garden. Yeah. And that flying, you know, I did that on a pair of skis leaning over the edge of a building. When I walked on water, I was walking on 2 picnic tables tied together with rope. I mean, we did it for nothing, which yeah, you know, it was so much fun. And
10 minutes of
the last few years, I've been doing a lot of low budget films, which are the most fun in the whole wide world, really.
Well, you're more involved in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I
funny
mean,
you mentioned that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when Mermaids, you know, it exploded, and I
Yeah.
started going to
Here we
Hollywood.
are.
You know, there. Oh God. Oh, and you know, I started going to Hollywood and started doing all that stuff, and did, you know, all the big diehards and all that kind of movie. But it was the little ones that have always been the best to this day. Yeah.
But you mentioned Die Hard,
Yeah.
and you mentioned the character was Molly.
In Die Hard?
Polly.
In Die-
No.
Polly.
And her characteristic of never giving up. That's Sheila. And if you want to tell us the story about Die Hard 2 and never giving up, which is a great actor's
It's a
story
great story, yeah.
Well,
passed around the business because of its.
well, you know, and it's a true story. I was kind of mad. So I got the part of Sam Coleman, and it was about, you know, 12 or 13 lines. And, you know, I'd won the Canadian Oscar for Mermaids. So as much as I was thrilled about getting Die Hard, I was like, whatever, you know. But I also thought, I'm paying my dues in the States, so I got to start over. You know, people don't know me here, so oh God, there he is. And so anyway, I got the part, and I was flown to New York because Bruce Willis had casting approval. So they sent a private plane to Stratford, and I was flown to New York, and I was told to ask at the hotel where he and Demi Moore, his wife at the time, and she was shooting Ghost. So they were staying at the big fancy hotel on Central Park East. And so I was told to ask for George King at the front desk. They all go under pseudonyms. And George was his dad's name, and King was his ego.
Oh.
Hold on. So I fly to New York, and I'm thinking, this is a hoot. Like, oh my God, what could be better? Meet another actor. No casting people, no producers, no directors, just me and Bruce. So I knock on the door, and Demi answers, and she had her daughter Rumor in her arms, who was about 2 years old. And sidebar to this is, their best friends in New York were Pete and my best friends in Stratford.
Oh. More coming in just a second.
It's a great story. I mean, I love that. I mean, she's just had these incredible experiences with these great showbiz stories. Only that you can tell in reflection. You can tell.
Yeah.
You know, when you've had this great, incredible career.
And it's funny who she is and why that resonated so strongly with some of the characters she played.
You know, I think in the business we all know that you have to you got to believe in yourself. I mean, when you talk about ego, it's okay to have a healthy ego. I mean, when you believe in yourself and stuff. But she, having known her, both known her for so long. She has she's ambitious, but she's got the biggest heart.
Biggest heart.
Yeah,
and she also has the sensibility that showbiz, you take it serious and you want to do the best you can, but it's showbiz.
Yeah.
And she had the other side of the coin too. I mean, we're playing house for a living, so she never takes anything too serious, which I loved about her too. Or at least you can combine both of it. And we're going to, in a minute, talk to her about some of her experiences with her.
Yeah, we're getting her back. It's live show. Things happen in the world, and if you have a chance, if you want to donate, this is a good time, and let you know what's happening while we're waiting for Sheila to come back. Next week, we have Jake and Gabby Epstein, brother and sister. So I'm really looking forward to that. They're great. Yeah. And the week after that is, our MD to the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company, Mark Camilleri, and his wife, Louise. And the final one for the summer, hopefully we'll take a little break and come back in the fall. Dave, you want to tell who's
going? Linda Cash and Pat McKenna. Both of you might have seen in Becoming Dr. Ruth, and some of our fundraisers with Pat McKenna, and wonderful performers, and it'll be great conversation. You worked with Sheila in a play that we did, Therefore Choose Life. What was it like? Had you worked with her before on stage or in film?
Well, we did The Boyfriend. I mean, but
Oh yes, as a choreographer.
No, she was in the Boyfriend.
She was in the show. Okay.
In the show, but that was like 1980. So we're talking a long time, you know. But no, we kept it. Have we done anything together? I don't know, but we've had this love admiration thing for, you know, I'm in awe of her. I've always thought, I mean, because she was just so lovely and nice. And but anyways, we had the opportunity, and remember, she came in and read for it too. You know, that's the type of actor she is.
Yeah,
And we wanted her, Kathy Kaser and Jake Epstein. Kathy had not, of course, knew of her reputation, but they wrote the play and they wanted to see if that voice suited to what they had in mind.
Yeah.
So, look, to call her and say, do you mind, Sheila, coming in, you know, for this? No, of course not. That's a great actor. You know, that's a
great actor and no ego.
And no ego.
Knows that we want to do the project right.
Right. So yeah, we loved working together. I mean, we joke because you know, we joke all the time because we love the process so much. There we are. No, there's Jake and Sheila together.
Yeah.
Jake Epstein and Sheila played his mom. I played his
powerful
father.
play.
That's Lisa Horner and Sheila and stuff. No, but we always joke backstage because we love the process so much. We get to opening night. And then after opening night, it goes, oh my God, do we have to do 8 shows a week? You know, but
limited time. Yeah.
But I loved working with her. She's just, she's been in some incredible situations with us.
I loved working with her in Breakbeat.
Oh yeah, she directed you in that.
And as I mentioned, she has such a solid, centered way about her, and took the cast. And took us along for this journey and was great. Layered it as we went along each time, and we had issues. When she comes back, we'll talk. The first day of rehearsal.
Wait, back to you. You lose the picture, Matt. Yeah.
And maybe he's trying to get.
Or maybe trying to get Sheila back. Okay.
Yeah. But, first day of rehearsal. We. There we are.
Oh, that's nice.
Therefore, choose life. Was that horrific day. We broke for lunch. I happened to stay in, and she went out with most of the cast. And it was the day when that
the white van,
the white van went down Yonge Street and killed several people. And it was horrific. First day of rehearsal, and I remember seeing her, and she was holding back the tears. But we had a young cast. She had to help hold it together for everyone. And we got through that, and she was a great captain of the ship.
Yeah,
that was horrific. This is probably one of our best sets I remember. Oh
my God, it was a gorgeous set. It was so beautiful. It looks like a doll's house, but that fits so beautifully on our stage. It was beautiful. Yeah. It was lovely, and also, you know, she helped us out a great deal. Oh, that's a great picture. There you are, Dave.
Yes, I had to age myself, so that's why I look that way.
That's right. And Lawrence Libor, it was great. You know, when we were doing Lost in Yonkers,
yes,
you know, it wasn't a big. There we are, Sheila and Linda Cash.
Yeah,
Ari Cohen, Marion Ross, Mrs.
Marion Ross, wonderful lady to meet. Yeah.
What's the young man's name? Ari Cohen, Alessandro Costantini, and I forget the other gentleman's name. Do you remember his name?
I don't.
I don't think he's in the business anymore. He's a young actor and stuff. And but that was. There we go. Look at that. Look, beautiful. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And Sheila only had like one scene in the show. Remember?
And she didn't blink an eye. She wanted. She did brilliant work, and it was a job, and she appreciates you keep moving forward, and it's I so appreciate and learn from her from that.
Yeah. I was going to tell the story. Our audience, our people who are listening know that when we were doing Lost in Yonkers, Linda Cash was playing the lead in that show.
Yes.
And tragically, on opening night, Linda's husband was in a car accident. And unfortunately didn't make it, lost his life. And we had to replace Linda. Of course we did. And then the young actors we hired could not do the last weekend. And Sheila said, why don't you ask Linda to come back and to do the last shows? And I said, I don't know how to approach it, but I think Sheila called Linda because Sheila had lost her husband, Peter. You know, so 2000, about 7 years ago, but it wasn't tragically. Peter died of cancer at the age of 57. But Sheila understood and was able to console in a way that we couldn't, and it was extraordinary.
It really was. Yeah. You know, and Linda came back, and
Linda came back. But for Sheila to have those two, I mean, with the white van and that, and to have those seminal moments with us, that to me makes theater. I don't want to bring
unique and different in the sense of it's live.
It's live, and extraordinary circumstances happen.
And you need someone with resilience and a level head, and Sheila, and talent, but a resilience and a level head, and theater is theater, life is life, but she always had that, and has that in spades. And I know she's directed more beyond our.
Yes, directed. She had a big success. She just directed. Oh God, was it Peter Pan? No, Pinocchio. She directed Pinocchio. She directed charity at Sheridan. She works with a lot of kids.
Peter Orangeville. She directed.
She's a great mentor. I mean, tell our audience the Sally Field story. I mean, she's worked for so many people, Sheila. But
this was fascinating only because we're both actors, and I love Sally Field. I love her as a talent, and I just you got to meet her and work with her. And I read an article before preparing for this where she asked Sally Field offered this advice, and that is an actor should look to reinvent themselves every 5 years.
Yeah.
And that is so true, because in this business you can become cynical. You don't get all your parts. Sheila, who's a wonderful actor, talks about how many times you don't get a part. And as you get older, it's very easy to become cynical, and you have a choice. You can either get another business or rededicate yourself and get as good as you can. And Sally Field is that, and so is Sheila.
Yeah, yes, Sheila always said that she loves getting older. You know, she loves getting older. She embraces it, which is phenomenal. She did 10 films last year. 10, unbelievable. Here's a woman who said, I mean, I wanted to ask her about ageism and women in the business, you know, but she seemed to embrace it so unbelievably. I mean, she's constantly working.
In every way. I mean, she also is a major voice actor.
Yeah.
Cartoons and voiceovers and different avenues of revenue. And she embraces it all when you think of, but reinventing herself, becoming a director.
Yeah.
And having different opportunities as an actor and saying yes. And, no, she's inspiring and one of Canada's treasures, I think.
I wish she could share these stories herself with us, you know. Anyways, you know, it's been an extraordinary journey with her. Jake and Kathy love to have Sheila in the room. I mean, it elevates, you know, when you have a woman like that in the room especially with a new script who could lend her experience. I mean, I remember Jake and Kathy changing the script so many times because Sheila would come up with something new or exciting and question, always not about her, but always questioning the character. What's this about? Why am I here? What am I doing this? And it's just, it was an extraordinary situation.
Yeah.
The internet they're trying to get working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know she has 2 daughters, as she mentioned.
Yeah.
And she's also involved, which we will ask her personally, with the Quilt Project.
Yeah.
Which is families dealing with breast cancer and Canadian Feed the Children. So she's a busy lady. I mean, she's talking about she's writing every day, keeping busy creatively.
We did, if I'm going to, about 10 years ago now, Sheila and I developed a show. It was called The Dig, a talk show.
The Dig, yeah.
It was going to be like an anti-talk, so like an not like an anti-main, but ANTI, not AN.
Right.
You know,
yes.
It was called me, and we were playing ourselves, and it was a live ad-libbed talk show, as we're doing now.
You in bed, or is that I'm thinking?
That was a different one.
That's a different show.
It morphed into a different show, but and we improvised. But we had guests come in, like we shot it in Sheila's kitchen in Stratford, and we did an hour demo, and CBC was really interested in it. And then this was over Christmas. Then when we came back in January or February, the whole CBC regime changed. And the project got lost. But it was really kind of fun. It was me and her, and you never saw talk show hosts in their late 50s. You know what I mean?
Who were some of the guests you used in the pilot?
Andrea Martin, Fiona Reed.
Oh my God.
A lot of Stratford actors.
Liza Minnelli? No. Damn. Excuse my language. No, she. I know she has a special relationship.
We have a good friendship with Liza Minnelli. Boy, I wanted to talk through all these names with her.
Hopefully she'll come back. She's really. Yeah.
No, she had a really cool relationship with Liza Minnelli.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if our audience is listening, but if they have any questions for us, yes, if they're still around, or Sheila, we can, or questions for us, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Yeah. Okay, goodbye, Matt. We're back.
Well, we told your life story.
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm so sorry, everybody. I don't know. You know what? Sometimes the internet and the condo. Anyway, I'm closer to we're good. Okay.
We're good.
Well, we're talking about me now.
Well, we talked about Liza Minnelli.
Oh.
We talked about me.
We touched upon. We love you to talk about it.
We talked about me and you working together in Therefore Choose Life. We talked about The Dish. We talked about
the
dish.
Yeah.
I still think about doing The Dish, Avery. Oh my gosh. I know, but well, okay. Okay, let me finish the Bruce Willis story. Okay. So, Tony, Bruce Willis, I meet Bruce Willis. I cop familiarity. I tell him I know their best friends are my best friends, and everything shuts down. He barely talks to me. I sit in there in my little power suit while he feeds his daughter scrambled eggs. Nothing. He said, I don't know if you're going to get the part. I come back to my house in Stratford, and the part was taken out of the movie. So I sat for 2 or 3 days, and I thought, you know what? This makes me so mad. I'm going to write Bruce Willis a letter. So, dear George King, I wrote Bruce Willis a letter, and I said, someone gave you a huge break a few years ago when you did Moonlighting, your first TV series. The part in Die Hard couldn't possibly mean anything to you, and I would love it if you would put the part back in the movie and cast me. So he did, and the only thing he ever said to me was on set. He walked past me and went, I got your effing letter. And that
really?
But you know what? I've always been a great proponent of writing letters, and sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't, but it's all we can control as actors is to say, here we are, and whatever you can do. But I also learned a very big lesson. I copped familiarity with Bruce Willis. I remember Pete saying to me, what, you expected him to be your new best friend? And I always tell students that I teach now, don't say hi from so-and-so. Don't do it in an audition. Just do your work and go home. And so lesson learned, there you go.
Right. Absolutely. You work with so many stars. Who are the other stars that really stood out?
I know I made a list once. I've been the liaison. I've been the best girlfriend to Liza, Annette Bening, Lorraine Bracco, Sally Field, Sissy Spacek, you name it. I know I started writing a book about
you should.
Melanie Griffith. I did 2 movies with Melanie, one of which I got cut out of, Pacific Heights, but I still get the residuals. And another movie with her ex-husband, Don Johnson. Good times. He tried to have me fired, but that's good.
He remained in Canada.
Pete never wanted to be. He hated the States. He always was a fish out of water in Los Angeles, and his desire not to be there was probably greater than my desire to move there. We almost moved there. He just always said, "I don't want to go there on spec. If you get a TV series, we'll go." But if we're just going to pack up everything and take the girls and move to LA on spec, and I think he was right. We all got our green cards. We almost moved there, and then I landed a TV series here called Emily of New Moon.
Yeah.
And we moved to PEI instead of Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
So, and that was one of my all-time greatest experiences was shooting Emily of New Moon for 4 years, meeting Martha McIsaac.
Yeah.
And so, even after I lost Pete, I thought, well, maybe I could go to LA, and I did the green card again. And then I met my second husband, Monk. And so now here I am. But honestly, this is my take on all of that. I think I've worked more here by staying here. And I certainly am glad now to be living in Canada.
Yeah.
And I think my takeaway from, like you saying earlier, that I've done a lot, I've bounced around and worn different hats. We're allowed to do that in Canada. In the States, you kind of get your one vaudeville hook, you get your one TV series, and then that's it. In Canada, in order to have a full career and keep working all the time, you got to do different things. And that's why I started teaching, and that's ultimately, Avery, you're responsible for me starting to direct because you spoke to Michael Rubinoff about me doing a show at Sheridan College.
In the meantime, I haven't been back, and you have 3 times. So.
Yeah. So I tick off that box now. Old woman can direct, but that changed.
You love directing?
I love it. That changed my life, Avery. You saying that to Michael about going out there. I just love it so much more than acting. Oh, it's so much. It's so, I mean, I'm sure you find that too, David and Dave. You guys both do all of them. I find it more rewarding. I find it less stressful.
Big time less stressful. I told the story that you and I, after opening, I would say, oh my God, do we have to do this 8 times a week? We love the process so much.
No, I mean, when that show got canceled in October, Avery, and we had a 2-minute song to sing, I don't have to learn it. I know you'd already learned it. I feel no fear when I'm directing. I feel it's not about me. It's about
making them look good. And it's a great other creative outlet to figure out ways to, which you haven't used. Yeah.
It's just a different part of your brain, and it's just it's just much more satisfying right now. And maybe it's just based in fear, really, or laziness. I don't want to learn all the.
No, it's a lot of hard work. But your daughters, Sheila Mccarthy, are in the business.
Matthew, my eldest, is a producer, and she produced Orphan Black and the TV series that's on Netflix now called Snowpiercer. So I'm very proud of her. She when she was 3, I was shooting a movie with Sarah Polley, and I needed a 3-year-old, and I said, "Sweetie, do you want to be in the movie with me?" And she went, "No, Mom." She said, I said, "How come?" And she said, "Mom, I've got my own work to do." And I said, "Well, what's your work?" And she said, "Mom, Jack and Jill go up the hill." And I went, "Okay." Okay. So I think Pete and I basically killed any kind of glamour about how hard this business is. And I tell students, if you can think of anything else to do, do it. Because as we all know, we're all still looking for work. I'm still auditioning, and it's not for the faint of heart. It's, it takes it. I've had great successes, but I've had lots of time not working. And
you remember an episode you did in 1982 called "The Princess and the Pea"?
No.
Episode of.
Does that ring a bell?
Was that Hanging In?
That was Hanging In. David, I looked it up.
Oh my God! With you and Lally Cadeau.
David's series on CTV. Did you guys have scenes together? Do you remember?
No. And this was the premise. The premise was the jock, Jeff Wincott, has to hire the ugliest girl to go to the prom. Hello.
Oh my God.
And CBC made me look worse
Hmm.
Then
Sure.
I did the makeover, and I was supposed to look good at the end. I looked worse. I looked like just
Oh,
yeah. That was so.
Oh my God.
I mean, those were the days when you were still, if you weren't the pretty girl next door, you did. But I got the funny girl parts because of that. So yeah.
And you have longevity. And here you are, 40 odd years later, and still 10 films last year and stuff.
Yeah, I just don't like to watch them anymore. But yeah,
But you like getting older. You once said you've embraced ageism. Did you?
Oh God! Well, it's too late to do anything. To do a face, it's just too late.
you look amazing.
Every year when I did Little Mosque on the Prairie, I would sit in the. Don't you love how I bring up more shows that I've done?
No, I was.
Every year, when I sat in the makeup chair for 6 years, I'd go, "Oh, I forgot to have Botox. I'm so sorry." And they would bring out big pieces of white fabric and put them down in front of Deb McGrath and me. I mean, okay, that show for a second was such a highlight. Working with Deb McGrath we were ridiculous. For 6 years, the fact that we got paid to do that show was, and, we would learn our lines, and then we'd get on set together, and both of us
would go.
Just gone. And I would just keep talking, and Deb would just stare out into the ethers. What she'd say, "Dear God, I knew these lines at home." We had so much fun, and that show was pretty important. I'm not sure even today a show like that would.
Well, you're 100% right. Yeah.
Was that only 10 years ago or so?
Oh, yeah. I guess. Yeah. Even less. Yeah. It was such a joy to do. Oh my goodness, so fun. So that didn't. But listen, then you finish a show, and then nothing happens. You're crickets in your career when you finish something, because they go, "Oh no, she's kind of familiar,"
That's
Canadian showbiz. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I did this very serious film called Cardinal, and people went, "Oh, she's much older," and
that was you played a murder, someone who you played a murderess, or
I murder a man who's been abusing my daughter, but I disguise it as a drunk driving thing.
Wow.
So it was really heavy, and again, low budget thing. We shot it in Barrie. Everybody in the house. It would be a perfect COVID positive project to do because we could all live together, and it was an incredible experience, and put me in another kind of snack bracket of age and roles again. So you just keep
reinvented yourself.
Yeah.
I have to, and that's what Sally Field told me once. She said, pardon me with the name dropping, but she said,
we love it.
"You got to reinvent yourself every 5 years in this business."
Yeah.
And she's.
I love her. Yeah.
And is that conscious on your part to do that? Is that something that?
Not really. It's necessity, I think, and it's desperation. I think it comes from, why am I not working? And okay, what can I do about it? What other rabbit can I pull out of the hat to keep going? I mean, you and I've sat many times, Avery, and I've said, "Hey, what are you doing? Can I come work for you? Can I?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Then you give us $20 and we say, "Okay."
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, God. When you asked me to do Lost in Yonkers, and there's this other thing that happens too in our business. People think, "Oh, well, she won't do it because she's a leading lady, or she only wants big parts." Or that was, I didn't show up till Act 2.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh, there we are. Oh, gosh.
Well, that was fun.
Oh, David, wasn't that a fun show?
Oh, it was great.
Oh my goodness.
And you were fabulous. Yeah.
Oh, there. Oh, look at that. That's just Linda Cat, all those things we went to. And Alessandro, he could never. Oh man, he was bad for laughing on stage.
Yeah.
Oh, was he? Very wonder kid, though.
Those boys, terrible. I mean, I'm bad.
Marion, she must be in her mid-90s now. Marion Ross.
Unbelievable. She was a little cougar, right? She was really something.
Yeah.
Also resilient. Yeah.
We only have about 5 minutes left, but I wanted to ask you that. I know you lost your husband, Pete, 7 years ago, and there we are. Just wanted to show that because it's a beautiful picture of you too. But you have a beautiful husband now, Alan Monk, and
well, you know, and they were good friends. Like it's interesting.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, when I lost Pete, of course, you know, everyone's lost people, but it's, you know, he was my great leveler, really. He was the one, he was my, can I say bullshit? Can I say?
Yeah.
He was my bullshit monitor. You know, he was the one who said, really? Can you get your head through the door today, Sheila? You know? And, you know, you never get over it. But the funny thing is that life goes on, and, you know, I found another great second love in my life who is the polar opposite, you know, which is wonderful. And at this stage in the game, you know, I'm 64, he's going to be 75. We just have fun, and it's I feel very, very lucky. And my girls, you know, he asked my girls for my hand in marriage and all that.
Oh.
And so I feel very lucky. And he's just the greatest guy. Sidebar to that is he was a huge commercial director, and I used to audition for him, and he never cast me.
Well, you got the part now, so there you go.
Yes.
Speaking of,
I wanted to do a shout out to Liza Minnelli, who's been one of the greatest influences on my life.
Yeah.
Liza, we love Liza.
She's watching right now.
Okay.
We have a couple of questions from the audience.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So, Matt, I don't know if you can able to put it up on the screen.
Ellie Barlin. Hi, Ellie. Is there a recording cabaret? I would love to see it.
You know, the Stratford Festival does small little archival that they keep in their massive warehouses. So it would be a very unsatisfying thing. You know, they shoot it just for archives. Yeah.
Well, listen, before we go,
one more question we have.
People are talking about not having actor play roles that they are not of the same ethnic group. Can you discuss this trend?
But not having actors play roles that
they are not the same. Like you played a Jewish and Jewish, and you weren't Jewish.
You know, it's an interesting time. Boy, that's a big question.
That is a big question.
I agree with so much of it. And here's what I equate it with, and I'll try and be brief. When the CRTC regulated Canadian radio, Canadian music had to be played on Canadian stations, there was a huge hue and cry about, you know, well, we want it, it's not going to work. It did work. And it was legislated, and we had to hear Canadian music. And eventually we got an incredible Canadian music star system because of that. The time has come for there to be more quality in casting. I am totally on board for not working as much because, you know, I've had big kicks of the can, and I think that there has been systemic racism across the board. That being said, every actor wants to play every possible part that they can, be it a different ethnicity or whatever. So this is a question I'm still wrestling with. I don't have the answers to, and I'm trying to listen to people, especially the youngins now, who have a lot to say about the inequality. And if that means that certain shows must not be done anymore, then so be it. I think the world it's a different world, and it should be a different world.
Yeah,
right.
So, you know, I don't know if that even begins to answer that dilemma.
Yeah.
But I'm excited by it. You know what I mean?
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Matt, I want to introduce Matt, our general manager of the Harold Green Jewish Theatre Company, who's behind the scenes now and getting Sheila back online.
There he is.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Before the interview. Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. And before we say goodbye to you, my darling, we have the Harold Green lightning round.
Okay.
1 word or 2 word answers to the question. Dave?
So what do you put on your latkes, you know, the potato latkes? Applesauce or sour cream?
Applesauce.
On your bagel and cream cheese, lox or nothing?
Lox.
Good.
Favorite Jewish comedian?
God. Jerry Seinfeld.
Beautiful.
Favorite actor?
You.
Well,
Who was she talking to?
Okay, no, okay. Right now, Martin Shaw, who's in this delicious British series called George Gently. Everybody
Oh, cool.
watch it.
Okay,
Good
cool.
recommendation. Your favorite film? One of your favorite films?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Cool. Well, Pete started that at Stratford. He was brilliant in it. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
Do you have a tattoo?
No. I wanted to get one when Pete was sick. I know it's one word answer. I wanted to get one when Pete was sick, and he said, "I'll divorce you." I went, okay.
Now you can get it. And if you had one word for the future of humanity, what would that word be?
Care.
Lovely.
Mm.
Well, I just want to say personally, you know, I love you. We've been friends for so long. You really are family, and we don't speak. I mean, we speak when we can and Zoom and have coffee when we can. But you hold a special place personally in my heart. You know that, and you hold a special place for me and Dave in our theater company. So it's Dave. You want?
I've got to get to know you over the years, and your heart is so big, and you've elevated our theater company, performing and directing, and we're so thrilled that we can both call you friends.
Thank you. Well, right back at you. What are you doing next season, and when do we start?
There you go. We'll
Thank
talk.
you,
We'll
darling.
talk.
We'll
And listen,
talk.
I'm sorry, we could do this again, and I'll call. I could talk about my career for quite a long time.
We
So.
talked about it when you were off, so that's
Okay.
okay.
So, yeah. If you have anybody that cancels, call me.
Okay, we'll do. Love you. Give my love to Monk. Bye.
I
Thanks.
love you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah.